With the release of Netflix's Devil May Cry Season 2 and my personal nostalgia for the series, I decided to prepare myself for it by watching Devil May Cry Season 1. And it looks pretty good, all things considered. Wait, Johnny on Blush is Dante. Isn't he De Niro? It's kind of weird.
Yeah, damn, he's cool.
Oh no. Spoilers for Devil May Cry. Okay, wow, that was bad. So I grew up playing the first 3 games, and I was too poor for PS3, so that's kind of where my adventures ended. But I did watch the original anime, and after watching the Netflix adaptation, to say I'm disappointed is an understatement. And before I start being annoying, I want to acknowledge there are parts of the show that I thought were pretty good. You know, just so you guys are aware that I didn't go into this show looking to hate it. It's been over half a decade since the release of Devil May Cry 5, and a nice, good adaptation would be a great way to shed light on the series. When I initially wrote this script, I wrote that I was excited to see it tell a different story, but then after learning it was intending to retread explored territories as a kind of modern take on Devil May Cry 3, my new perspective coming to this was that animating the 3rd game isn't a bad idea. We need more direct adaptations anyways, and to be honest, it's a strong starting point that sets up Dante's character perfectly, but regardless of whatever happens, it's gonna set up the story to inevitably be compared to the original since, you know, it's effectively a remake. I like that they attempted to expand on Lady as a character. It might not have been very good, and she's not really lacking in the original, but it makes sense from a storytelling perspective to have a human character to follow and to sympathize with as we learn more about the world. And for the most part, she works pretty good as an audience surrogate. She was always one of my favorite characters, so I was excited to hear that she'd be maintaining her major role in Dante's story. I also thought that giving her an entourage was kind of a good idea, and they served the roles just fine, but for the most part, they died too quickly. I have no time to get attached to any of these people. Who are you? I also like the involvement of the government. I think it was a good idea to expand on the greater universe and act as kind of an early intro to the groups like the Order of the Sword. You know, these big, powerful organizations that are interested in demons. And I am kind of excited to see where they go with this. I just hope they don't fumble. Other thing I really liked is the White Rabbit's design. I never read the Devil May Cry 3 manga, so I was excited to see him on the screen. He just looks so cool. This effectively concludes the positives that I had taken away from the Netflix series, and now it's time to get to the negatives. And again, seeing as it is a work meant to redo Dante's 3rd game, I'm gonna end up comparing it to Devil May Cry 3 a lot. The first plot point that irks me is that Force Edge is kind of just laying around. This is the demon sword of the Dark Knight, and it just sits there. Getting the Force Edge was the whole plot of the 3rd game, and it just being around caused it to lose its mystique. I thought this was supposed to be set up for the Order of the Sword, and it still can be, but then this theory is immediately debunked when they just say it was stolen from the Vatican. I think since the overarching plot of the story is still the hunt for Force Edge, the Tema Negro did not need to be rewritten, especially since the White Rabbit just ends up opening the portal in the middle of nowhere anyways. Like, why take away the importance of the location where Force Edge is being kept? And in terms of robbing mystique, Dante is made substantially weaker in the series, which I believe takes away a fundamental aspect of Dante. Even though Dante is unfathomably strong and basically unstoppable, he still values humanity, friendship, and companions. His inhuman strength exists to complement his very human beliefs.
You may look like my mother, but you're nowhere close to her. You have no soul. You have the face, but you'll never have her fire.
As an audience, we know Dante is unstoppable, and we know he will win. So instead of focusing on what's gonna happen, we can focus all our energy on why, and observe how the rest of the world reacts to his strength, and more importantly, his resolve. And seeing as Vergil is looking to play an important role in the series, it also exists to show the difference in Vergil and Dante's perspectives on power. Vergil views power as control, and he uses it as a shield to hide any insecurities or any weaknesses. Dante, however, views power as a sign of freedom, and uses it carelessly all the time to defy the very laws of nature themselves. I mean, look at this. Look at how the dude is moving. Dante can do what he wants because he has the power to do so, while Vergil can make others do what he wants because he has the same. Just to showcase how much weaker Dante is in Devil May Cry 2025, Lady, with some minor assistance, is able to keep up with Dante, and yes, she's playing on the defensive, but she gets a few good hits in, but she really shouldn't be able to, when at best she's...
I love a fast woman.
Shut up!
And at worst, she's... Pre-Devil Trigger Dante was able to push a demon so hard it literally exploded, and at his strongest, he was somewhat keeping up with Vergil, who did have his Devil Trigger unlocked and is capable of literally cutting through space and time. This is pre-Devil Trigger, by the way. Dante has been reduced so much he isn't even aware he's part demon. He doesn't question his own abilities, and the most upsetting part is that the reveal that he's a demon has no more impact than the dancing at the beginning or him just keeping it hidden would have had.
I think this is a Devil Trigger. Also, I think I'm the son of Sparta.
The writers actually thought this revelation was so unserious, they told this joke twice.
You were right. I am part demon.
Yeah, no shit.
And it's weird because I'd argue that in a story like this, Dante knowing he's a demon and keeping it secret would have made the story way more interesting, both for Dante and to further crush Lady's perspective on the world. It's strange to see that it has no impact on Dante when it is one of the primary reasons for his self-loathing in the original. It was because he was the son of a demon that they were attacked, and it is because his demon father did not show up when they needed him the most that their mother died. He disowned his father and he hated his demonic side so much he didn't even have his devil powers activated until it was forced out of him by Vergil. In Dante's first fight with Vergil, the dialogue is used as banter to express Dante and Vergil's relationship, but he also says,
Father? I don't have a father.
and in his final fight with Vergil, he tells him,
We are the sons of Sparta.
it's not the most subtle of lines, but it's easy to forget when every character in the game reminds him he is a son of Sparta.
Son of Sparta.
Your father was a handsome devil.
Daddy's little spell. Our father, Sparta.
If we're setting up the heritage to be this big twist in the 2025 show, then why play it off as just a joke where he gets over it in a few seconds? Why do we throw away the subtlety to get Marvel quips in? You aren't allowed to downplay the development and then act like your character had any sort of growth by the end of it. Oh yeah, you know I said they made a joke about it twice? Well, they do it again.
What is it about you?
I'm the son of Sparta, if that helps.
What?
And again.
But something in his DNA was dormant until he went demon just now, which is why it wouldn't have worked before. Fuck you, Thumper.
And by the fourth time, it is plot relevant now, but it's quite literally exposition from Lady. Both Dante and Lady were gonna go to the White Rabbit anyways. This explanation is for nobody except the audience. When DFC 3 does a similar exposition, the game has already taken steps to misdirect both the audience and the characters into thinking only the blood of Sparta and the amulet were needed, when in truth, that was only half the ingredients. It recontextualizes the actions from some of the characters, and it works because we, the audience and the characters, thought we had everything already figured out. But it also isn't something that's impossible for an omnipotent viewer to figure out. As a kid, I thought Arkham was gonna end up being Jester, because the moment one disappeared, the other appeared. And then when Arkham's corpse disappeared, Jester reappeared. Also, his name's Arkham, Jester, Arkham Asylum, Batman. I like Batman too. We also aren't even told or implied at all why getting slashed by the rebellion caused him to awaken his devil trigger. And while it was vague in the original as well, we at least had the context that it was a keepsake from his father, and Dante was the one that awakened it. And it had a visual change, and Vergil said something.
I see a devil inside you has awakened as well.
But in the new show, as far as the audience is aware, he is human, so it's jarring that as soon as we learn about Devil Trigger, he goes Devil Trigger. And Rebellion is just a sword that he uses. We don't know where he got it or why he uses it. And now that I think about it, I don't even think it's a name in the show. And the worst part is, the trademark skull never changes. Truly a sin. It's a shame because this is the center stone of Devil May Cry 3. His arc is him coming to terms with his demonic heritage and accepting his familiar responsibilities. And this itself isn't something Dante accepts until his conversation with Lady about family. And Lady? Oh my god, Lady. In a morbid way, I had expected them to Flanderize Dante, but nothing could have prepared me for what they did to Lady. And worse yet, Arkham. Lady has been done such a massive disservice. While her personality in Devil May Cry 3 is shoot first, ask questions later, Devil May Cry 2025 uses the nuances of Lady's character. In the game, she's angry and hateful. That's all the show keeps. The show doesn't seem to recognize that she's not an angry person, but she doesn't know how to cope with her emotions. So anger is the mask that she wears because it's the easiest way for her to forget her past and dedicate herself to killing Arkham. We see this when Dante asks,
Tell me, what's your name?
I don't have a name.
Okay, then what should I call you?
I don't care. Whatever you want.
she isn't anyone anymore, she's just the means to kill Arkham. But we already know this is just a shallow mask, because she clings onto her mother as
The only family I ever had.
and she's also determined to stop Arkham because
That filthy scum is my father. This is my father.
My family. This was all supposed to end by my hand.
If her purpose wasn't to kill Arkham, whose is it? And now that he's dead, who is she? Her loss of identity allows her to be deceived by her father and hate herself even more when she's betrayed by him again. But in the show, it's not personal, so the anger doesn't feel like a mask. It feels like it is just her personality. This is supported when the situation isn't about her, but she makes it about her.
And this isn't about your dad. It's about whatever fucked up vendetta the rabbit has against Darkcom, which means it's my fight.
And yes, she was the one who turned the White Rabbit into the White Rabbit, but nobody knows that yet. And you can't forget about the way that she talks.
Fuck you, Thumper.
That compilation keeps going, by the way. She doesn't just do this to demons, she does this to basically everyone. Lady exists as a foil to Dante and the polar opposites of Vergil. For Dante, he masks his pain with humor instead of anger. And for Vergil, one works to fix their father's actions and the other works to undo it. While Vergil admires the actions of his father Sparta, Lady despises the actions of her father Arkham. Lady is looking to right the wrongs of Arkham, and Vergil is looking to wrong the rights of Sparta. Where Sparta is the best of demons, Arkham is shown to Lady as the worst of humanity. He deceives his daughter and leaves her for dead, works with demons to open the gates of hell, and is implied to have killed multiple innocent people and searched out the descendant of the mortal priestess that helped Sparta and manipulated her into loving him before murdering her. But Sparta worked with humans to close the gates of hell, gave up his position as the Demon King's right hand, found love after giving up his position as king, and trusted his sons to carry his legacy. And when they get stabbed by his swords, they gain access to his power and become stronger. In Devil May Cry 2025, because it's not personal and we don't have Vergil, she doesn't have anyone to contrast stuff like this. It's made even worse by the fact that her motive, Arkham, has been split up into 3 characters. There's John Arkham, Lady's father, the Vice President, the human meant to showcase the worst in humanities, and the White Rabbit, the human turned demon. And obviously, splitting up your character into 3 probably isn't the best idea if you want to make a fleshed out character. John Arkham loses the terror present in the original Arkham. Arkham is a scholar that acts in his own interest, fully aware of his actions and gives up everything, including his humanity, for power. Part of his menace came from his human appearance always having something wrong about it. Whether it be his moving flesh, or the way he never emoted, like he's a scary bastard. Whatever it is, the show doesn't have. John Arkham is a man with good intent, but becomes crazy after encountering a random scrub demon. He turns himself into a demon out of fear and desperation, and the death of his wife is presented to us as an accident. While this does work to show that demons are evil, it also kind of proves that Lady was right. Demons do corrupt people. And they did so to her father, which is weird because this belief that all demons are evil and corrupt people is set up as the lie that Lady believes at the start of Devil May Cry 3. It's no longer a case of a human willingly showing that humans can be just as evil as demons. I really pray that the writers didn't see Arkham's speech
Manipulated by a devil named Vergil.
Vergil?
and took it as the truth. This aspect of Arkham is instead given to the Vice President. The Vice President is now set up as the human character the audience is meant to root against. He's who's meant to show the evils in humanity and is meant to be the unempathetic villain. He just falls flat because he's so obviously evil, and I guess you could say that Mary is just so clouded by her own past that she doesn't recognize this, but how does nobody else recognize this either? Like, look, listen to this.
I am directly authorizing a change to your orders.
Liquidate the demon invaders. God has tested him, and he was found worthy. This is our divine charge, to be the last line of defense against the Inferno.
Right.
The final character Arkham has been split into is the White Rabbit. When I see a character like this with a massive portion of an episode dedicated to his sad backstory, I can't help but think this character was made to capitalize off the popularity of sympathetic villains as a safe and easy antagonist. Think of your Thanoses and Killmongers and Tony Leungs. The White Rabbit takes on the physicality of Arkham as the human turned demon, and his deep origin story that we're supposed to empathize with is that he was bullied as a kid. Okay, I'm being facetious right now. In all honesty, the White Rabbit isn't even that bad. I'm just comparing him to Arkham, and I have sympathetic villain fatigue. If you wanted to look at it a little deeper, we've seen what one low-level demon does to humans, so it's hard to empathize with someone who wants to just rip open the gates of hell. And what makes it dumb is that he's supposed to be really smart, but he isn't considering any of the consequences. Well, he does later, but then he says he doesn't care about the consequences, and at that point, why did you make him a sympathetic villain?
What's the sacrifice of a generation or two?
I also forgot until just recording this that he tortured a bunch of demons. Like, like a bunch of kids and stuff, and he ate one of them. He ate one of the kids that he tortured. and then you're gonna tell me that I'm supposed to think he has a point? Honestly, if you didn't try to make me feel bad for the character, I'd probably like him a lot more. Or you could have just kept Arkham as one character. Like the rabbit having to choose between dying or becoming a demon also loses out on the nuance of a human choosing to become a devil. And if you really wanted to have an empathetic villain so bad, Vergil still exists, both as himself and for the inevitable reveal of ZanarGaming. So wait, if we were to sum it up, you would have Arkham and Vergil and a fetch quest for the Force Edge. That sounds a lot like... Yeah, this game is so cool. Vergil. I can't believe they put him in the show. And they used him as clickbait for season 2. Well, now I have to watch season 2. The reveal of ZanarGaming as Vergil means nothing to a new viewer, since they don't have the context of the games. And we, the returning audience, do not know this Vergil. The reveal here, I can only imagine, is just for people to point and say, he said that thing, he said that.
I am that storm.
This reveal is also done last second in Devil May Cry 1, but works because we don't learn his true identity until it's too late and we, Dante and the player, have already killed him. It stays with you because you don't get the time to think about what just happened and you just have to take it as is. And playing the games in And if you played the games in an order of timeline, then you would have the context of who Vergil is. And it means that much more that you killed him. You get the context that despite everything that has happened, despite what Vergil may say or do, he cares about Dante. Vergil loves his family so much, he's willing to put his pride aside and use guns, something he doesn't view as the weapons of a true warrior, for Dante, for his brother. And when Vergil awakens Dante's devil trigger, he does so to gloat over Dante because he enjoys one-upping him, his brother. He refused to let anyone except Dante have the Force Edge and only banters with Dante.
My sincerest apology, brother. I was so eager to see you, I couldn't concentrate on preparations for the bash. Give that to me.
No way. You got your own.
Well, I want yours too. Not very classy for someone's dying words.
It's only one of the parallels that he has with Dante. After the death of their mother, the two hated themselves for letting it happen, but where Dante blamed his demonic origins, Vergil blamed his humanity. If he was a demon as strong as his father, if he had the power of his father Sparta, he could have stopped what happened to his family.
And without strength, you cannot protect anything.
But it all feels so pointless because he has nothing to say when Dante asks him,
What are you gonna do with all that power, huh? No matter how hard you try, you're never gonna be like father.
We're wasting time!
He spent so long trying to get power that he doesn't even have anything to save anymore. And timeline-wise, for this to fit in the existing lore, for Vergil to already be ZanarGaming, he would have been tortured as a child and wouldn't have had the time to learn about Sparta, which, I mean, just kind of messes all sorts of things up. It also means that he doesn't have the time to learn about himself, and most terrifying yet, to go to Fortuna and get some For one reason or another, he would have already been a follower of Mundus, and while I'd be lying if I said I wasn't at least a little interested in where they take this Vergil, I'm afraid that they're gonna keep on stripping Devil May Cry of its nuances and stray even further from the original.
He set me free.
Oh my god, they actually did it. I saw this rant on Twitter where a user was saying DMC was built on the idea that Sparta overcame his demonic nature and came to justice protect humanity. And if other demons could be just as good or kind-hearted, it would take away from the impact of his rebellion. Keep in mind that in the Devil May Cry universe, demons are malevolent by nature. This is what makes humans like Arkham so much worse than any demon. They chose to be evil out of their own volition. And in the same way, Sparta being the first demon who chose to be good and chose to fight against his dark nature is what makes him so good. If being good-natured is normal, then Sparta isn't special because of his actions or his choices. He's quote-unquote special because he was born stronger. You see how that takes away from his character, right? What the original Devil May Cry anime did, Sparta would inspire the demon Modius. The difference between the two wasn't their power. Modius has the powers of Sparta. It was their resolve. Modius would choose his brother over humanity, where Sparta would choose what is right over his own kind. The problem with this in the Netflix series is that Sparta's actions are constantly downplayed, and good-natured demons are not just an idea anymore. They're everywhere. Demons are just no longer innately evil. I don't understand why big companies keep taking recognized IPs and just writing their own stories and backgrounds. Talk about shows like Velma and Riverdale, where the only resemblance to the original is the name and the brand. All it does is bait the audience in by having recognizable brand ties to then disappoint the fans by actively going against their expectations. This ends up isolating the audience between the newcomers who take the show for what it is and the veterans who have nothing except faces that they can point at and recognize. A show like Arcane gets away with this because characters like Vi, Jinx, and Caitlyn have so little lore already that nobody really cares. But when it comes to rewriting major elements like the founding of Hextech or even characters with extensive lore like Singed, it failed to please the existing audience and led to fans complaining and new fans confused. I guess they must have been working with the idea that all publicity is good publicity, but careless acts like this lead to nothing but a quick cash grab, and to call Devil May Cry a pioneer of a whole genre nothing but a quick cash grab, it's so painful and disappointing. I haven't seen season 2 yet, but I hope nothing but the best for the future. I don't think there'll ever be a 6th game. So maintaining relevance in a show is such a beautiful idea that I really can't hope for anything except for its success. I understand this is just the first season and I am comparing it to 5 games, but one thing the show has that the games don't have is 20 plus years of hindsight. Think about it. DMC3 only had 4 real characters, and it was able to tell a fully fleshed out story with a satisfying conclusion. The 4 characters were all written with each other in mind. They are all just reflections of one another, sometimes literally, and most times operatively. It had these because the writers of DMC3 knew what they were doing when they were making each character. The show already has all these good concepts and characters that it can build off of, but it decides to throw it all out in favor of just telling whatever this is. That 2nd season better be banging. But that's for another video. With all that being said, if you want to see a video about season 2, drop a sub, just leave a comment maybe. One of these days I'll get to it. Honestly, let me know what you think in the comments below. Or just let me know what you want me to look at. I got a lot more stuff coming up and I'm really excited to kind of get this ball rolling. I hope you guys enjoyed. Okay, for real, the wise cavalier here.